He didn't track out. I went outside him carrying speed, and he suddenly moved over and bonked me off the track. Ah. Hi, this is Randy Pobst, the racer, coming to you again from Throttlestop in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, the home of Road America. And I'm racing at Road America in a Porsche 911 GT3-RS. And the car is good. It's set up by my buddy, Greg Fordhal, one of my favorite engineers. And I'm racing with Kim Hiskey, a woman. And we did well. So the car's great. We got the pole by a lot. By over a second, as I recall, which in racing, that's a long way. And the Porsche is handling so beautifully. And one of the places where I got the time was in the kink. That's capitalized. It's a turn at Road America that is one of the fastest corners in the world.
Just as on television, when you see them simply drive round here, because they're very difficult corners, particularly this kink here. Hear the tire squeal.
Now these cars through the kink, I mean, they've got to grab some brake to get through there because of the lack of grip.
Now I think downforce cars, they don't even lift at all. Like the Formula Atlantic, F3, F4 type cars, they have so much downforce, but the Porsche, you had to get your aerodynamic balance right. And it was not flat out around there by any means, but our balance was great. Those Porsches in the 2000s, I always believed never had enough rear wing. I felt every time I raced one, and I raced them a lot, almost exclusively in the 2000s, early 2000s, I always wanted more rear aerodynamic downforce. And Greg had gotten his car just right. So I started the race, and Kim was going to do the middle section, and then I was going to finish. And we're running good. We got a big lead, and we're getting ready for the pit stop. And I'm catching the last place guy. Now, Kim had warned me about this driver, that the driver was a little bit unaware. And when you're leading the class, when you first catch the last place guy, it's a wake-up call for that guy, or that driver, I should say. So as leader, you got to be a little careful. I've gotten in trouble that way a couple times in my career. And we're running great. The car's beautiful. I'm relaxed. I don't even have to take much risk because the car's handling so well. It just goes. I always say that a proper handling car practically drives itself. That's how this 911 was that day. Even with the rear engine, the 911s can handle so well, but they do have a rather narrow setup window. In other words, you got to have everything just right. And Greg Fordhal did. And I see a slow car up front. I'm way faster. Road America is a long track, and it takes a long time to lap anybody because you got to catch them, much longer than other tracks. So it's a little later in the stint. And I'm catching him coming out of Canada Corner, catching him in a hurry. And after Canada Corner, there's this left-hand turn up over a hill that's pretty tricky. It's kind of blind. And my 911 is handling so well that I go through there almost flat out. And coming out of Canada, I can see that I'm gaining on this car in a hurry. And looking back, I probably should have been flashing the headlights, or maybe had the headlights on. I don't think we did that too much back then. Today, I do it on purpose. I run the headlights to be more obvious when I catch slower cars. And as we come in to the corner, I'm not in a position to beat him into the corner. And so we get into the corner and he's a lot slower right in the middle of the corner. And I'm making an effort not to get right on his bumper, because if I do, then now I'm slowed down to the same speed that he is, and he's in a Porsche like me, and we accelerate at the same rate or very similar. We all got the same engine, same rules. And so I hang back a little bit. He slows way down at the apex of the corner in the middle. When you're racing, don't drive in the middle of the track. Pick a side, either be on the left or the right. But when you go through a corner, well, you don't have much choice, right? You start on one side, you go to the other. The racing line naturally goes wider. He didn't go very wide. So I thought about the inside and I said, nope, he's not tracking out. He doesn't go out very far. So I carry speed and I go around the outside, which is a lot faster and it's better for me too. I'm coming up next to the driver, and as you clear the hill, you can now see where you're going. And the driver's like, oh, my coach said I should track out and be over there by that curb. And he suddenly moves to the right, not knowing I was there. He had no clue. I should have flashed my lights or something. And I'm coming by faster. He suddenly moves over all the way to the curb. And he didn't need to either. You want your speed to carry you outside on the exit. He just looked over there and consciously drove there, thereby driving me off the track, right off the track into the grass. Not a real bad thing, but the grass is not smooth like the race pavement is. And I'm bouncing along, and one of the bounces catches my splitter, which is a low, flat piece at the front of the car that creates downforce. It's a really great aerodynamic device. Knocks it right off the car. Fortunately, it didn't hurt anything else. It just broke off. I drove over it. I come back on in front of the guy. We go through a couple more corners. And whenever you have something go wrong in a race, or on the street for that matter, pay a close attention to your gauges. Make sure you didn't damage a radiator or an oil line. I'm watching the gauges. I'm feeling the car. We're still okay. That's good. We're still running good. We didn't break a radiator, but we no longer have the front splitter. Remember, I said I like a lot of wing. So now we have a lot of grip in the back relative to not very much in the front, especially at high speeds, which is where the aerodynamics work. What this meant was it cost me about 1.5 seconds. Remember, we had the pole by about 1.5 seconds. So we're still leading, but now it's work. I have got to drive absolutely as well as I can to stay ahead without the splitter. And I'm not sure how we ended up, but like I brag, Kim Hiskey and I always did well in the class. Greg Fordhal was putting together such good cars for us. We did well, but it went from a walk in the park, relaxed, enjoyable drive, to work. I was having to work for the speed because I let the last place guy get me.